Hey class, we're looking at lesson 6.4. Lesson 6.4 covers standard form of equations, and you'll learn to graph equations using standard form, which will then lead you to the x and y intercepts, something that's new to us. Before you start the lesson, please make sure you've check the skills you'll need at the beginning of lesson 6.4. Again, you can pause this video at any time. Standard form. What is standard form? Standard form of an equation is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a and b are both and are not both 0. So a can't be 0 and b at the same time. They can't be 0, a and b. What that means is a, b, and c have to be integers, okay? So they want to be real numbers. It's usually accepted that A is also positive. Anytime you're doing a test for me, I would like you to try and make A positive, and I'll show you how to do that along the way. If you have a negative out here in front of the A, it usually tends to get lost along the way. Forgotten, just like that negative sign in the basement of the fraction. So let's look at our first example. Oh, excuse me, x-intercept, something new for us here. X-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis. The y value in the x-intercept is 0. Remember, in the y-intercept, the y value in the x-intercept is 0. Yes, in the y-intercept, the x value is 0, and in the x-intercept, the y value is 0. Okay? Remember, the x-intercept, if you just give me a number, you're not actually giving me a point. So you want to make sure you're always giving points when asked. So let's find the x and y intercept. Well, if you look at 2x plus 5y equals 6. If you want to find the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x, and 2 times 0 is 0, so this term disappears, and we're left with 5y equals 6. Divide both sides by 5, you're left with y equals 6/5. To find the the x-intercept, I apologize, you plug in 0 for y, so we're going to plug in 0 here for y. 5 times 0 is 0, so that becomes 0. So now you have 2x equals 6. Divide both sides by 2, you get x equals 3. I believe I've done all of that math right here for you. So we can see that our x-intercept and our y-intercept right here. Now, if you're asked to write these as a point or to plot the point, remember that we have x is, where's my pen? Come on. Let's see the black one here. X is 3, y is 0. So that's your x-intercept as the point, okay? The x value of the x-intercept is 3. Over here, our y-intercept is going to be 6/5. And that's our y value, not our x value. So I want to just move that. And we're going to have 0,6/5, which is our y-intercept. So here's the x-intercept. And you'll see me use int for intercept a lot and y-intercept. Okay? Moving on to the next example. So here we are going to, we're going to graph the equation 3x plus 5y equals 15. Now notice this is not in slope-intercept form. If we're in slope-intercept form, we could plot the y-intercept and then use our rise over our run to find the second point and then draw our line. In this case, we don't have that, and we could spend some time rearranging it into slope-intercept form, but because it's in standard form, it's super easy to plot the x and y-intercept and then graph the equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the y-intercept by plugging in 0 for x. When I do that, I end up getting 5y equals 15, and then dividing both sides by 5. I get y equals 3. Now to find the x-intercept, I'm going to plug in a 0 for the y, okay? And then I'm going to solve for x. And if I divide both sides by 3, I get x to equal 5. So going to my graph here, okay? I have my my y-intercept. Remember, if we're looking at these as points, it's 0, 3 is my y-intercept, and then my x-intercept is 5, 0. So I'm going to plot those points. 5, 0 is going to be right here, and 0, 3 is going to be plotted there. And then I can connect them with a line, and that is, oops, that probably should go down just a little bit. It's a little high pitched here. There we go. And that is the line that graphed. Okay. It's as simple as that. You only need 2 points to plot a line. You'll need more than that for parabolas. And here we can see, I had my little notes that the x-intercept is 5. If you're going to call, you can't just say x is 5 for the x-intercept. You either need to tell me the x-intercept is 5 or write it as a point. Okay, so be very, very careful with that. Now, how do we transform equations into standard form? Remember, standard form is going to be ax plus by equals c. And a and b just refer to the coefficients of x and y here, nothing more. They don't have some secret meaning like slope and y-intercept like we do in the y equals mx plus b form. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of the fraction. Okay, how do I get rid of 2/3? Well, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. What that leaves me with is 3y equals 2x plus 18. Okay, notice I multiplied the y by 3, the 2/3 x by 3 to be given 2x, and then the 6. Now, in order to get it in standard form, my x and y are on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, and because they're not like terms now, they're different letters, I'm going to have negative 2x plus 3y equals 18. Okay, now you're technically not wrong here, but when I solve right equations in standard form, I always make sure my a value is positive, and I think a lot of the teachers at the high school will also require that or ask that of you. So how do I make this negative 2 a positive 2? Well, if I multiply everything by negative 1, it just changes the sign of everything to its opposite. Okay? Both of these equations are the exact same equation. They have the same meaning. If you were to graph them, they would both be identical graphs, okay? They just look a little different, but they have the same meaning. So I would prefer you to write it in this manner, although you will see problems and questions in the book that do not have a positive a value. They will leave it the negative, and technically you're not wrong, but I would like you, I think you'll make less mistakes if you get into that habit of having a positive. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, our last example here. We are looking at using and applying standard form. So we're going to write an equation in standard form for the number of hours I need to work each job to make $130. Okay, so you can see here I've already identified x is going to be the number of hours I work mowing the lawn, and y is going to be the number of hours I deliver papers. So if I take, how much do I make mowing a lawn? I make $12 an hour mowing a lawn, right? So if 12 is the amount of money I make per hour, and I multiply that by x, the number of hours I work mowing lawns, that's going to give me the amount of money I make mowing lawns. And then I'm going to add to that the amount of money I make delivering papers. Well, that is calculated by taking $5 times the number of hours, which in this case is going to be y, the number of hours I work delivering papers. And what do I want that to be? Because I'm saving up for something special, $130. So there's my equation right there. Now I can then solve each equation for the I can solve this for the x and y intercept. Again, if I plug in 0 for x, I end up getting 5y equals 130, okay? And if 130 divided by 5 is going to give me 26, y equals 26. Well, what does that y-intercept mean? That means if I did nothing but deliver papers, I would have to work 26 hours to make enough money for the $130. That's if I didn't mow the lawn at all. Now, if I look for my x-intercept, I have the equation 12x equals 130, because remember the 5y becomes 0 because I multiply that by 0, and then I take 130 and I divide by 12, and I'm not going to get a pretty answer here. I'm going to get about 10.8, I think, 8 and a third. Okay, so 10.8 hours. And what does that mean? That x-intercept means that if I did nothing but mow lawns, I would have to work 10.8 hours in order to make that $130. Okay? Please make sure you're going over the notes. If you need to watch it again, please do so. We'll be practicing in class tomorrow, and come to me with questions. Have a great night.